heading up to Georgia to the Grave Moss Plantation. Right now I'm in Florida, so got a little ways to go. And we're going to be stopping by the White Springs Colossal Confederate flag site too on the way up. So we'll be getting all that information on the video waves, and it'll be uploaded on YouTube and BitChute later. There she is, a mega flag right next to the shell sign. This is on I-75, not far from Georgia. It's a few miles north of Route I-10. It's on I-75 on the northbound lane. There's a memorial down here. We'll take a look at it. And I just want to say, I was up in Dixie County on the Sons of Confederate Veterans meeting, and was told that the NAACP actually invited the Sons of Confederate Veterans to march in their parade. The NAACP actually invited the Sons of Confederate Veterans to march in their parade, and with their Confederate flags and everything. Didn't ask, they were at it. NAACP asked them to. So a little bit different than here up north. I wish I was around to film that. That would have been great. Ancestors, there's a memorial right here, and Sons of Confederate Veterans badge. You can see you can see the highway right there. The thing is, up north, the financial powers don't want to tell you what was going on, and the Confederate Constitution really tells you a lot about what was really going on, because they were going to limit the revolving door going on between, say, financial powers in the Northeast and Washington, D.C. The Confederate Constitution also had a lot of different changes. It was really the same thing, but the differences were each appropriation bill had a separate line item. In other words, there could not be any omnibus spending bills where you could throw a lot of different things in one spending bill. In this way, that stopped a lot of the special interests from overspending. The president also had a line item veto. There was also limits on term limits for the president, and it was a 6-year term. So the president was in there one time for 6 years. You do your thing, and then you're out. And there's also easier ways for the president to fire holdovers from a previous administration in the bureaucracy, what you would call the bureaucracy. Here's all the sponsors sponsoring camps. Let's see here. The site dedicated February 15th, 2002 by the Florida Division of Sons of Confederate Veterans in living memory of our ancestors, over 1.5 million soldiers, sailors, and Marines who served in the armed forces of the Confederate States of America. And these were people, this was 1776 all over again. Let's see the flag up here again. On Google Earth, this flagpole doesn't look that big, but when you look at it next to it, it is a lot bigger. I'm not sure which side flag they're flying right now. These flags are not cheap. Tell me, I got a 40-footer, which is, this is a 100-footer with a 30 by 50, but maybe that's a 20 by 30 up there. They could have a 30 by 50. But also on the Confederate Constitution, there was ways you can impeach federal officials that were interfering in your state. In other words, say for instance you had a federal official coming in your state saying, we want abortion, and the state said no, or vice versa even, right? I'm not for that, but so your state says, it's illegal to have abortion in the state, so you can impeach that federal official for coming to your state trying to dictate policy against the state's wishes. But there was a lot of constraints on the money angle. That was the revolving door between the Northeast and Washington, D.C. That was really the main thing that the South seceded over, was the tariff issue, which was a tariff on imports, but was basically collected at the point of exchange between commodities going out, which was mainly cotton, and imports coming in. The South would have also employed a free trade zone, which would have actually destroyed the Northern's market, the domestic market, which the Northern's domestic market was probably more than 50% of it was in the South. would have lost a lot of money. Plus, the Mississippi River would have been in another country, so that would have been another problem. So there was a lot of reasons why they had to bring, basically the money power said union at all cost. And also I should mention this, the North bent over backwards. Let's say this, the politicians, or say the money people behind the politicians, bent over backwards to give the South permanently protected slavery forever by Constitution. And you know, it was introduced, the bill was introduced in the House of Representatives by Congressman Thomas Corwin in December of 1860, and in the House, in the Senate, U.S. Senate, by Senator Seward from New York. Interesting that Senator Seward was anti-slavery, yet he was introducing a bill to permanently protect slavery in the South. You can see that was the money angle, because the South ostensibly said they seceded in some states over slavery, but it was really, that was not the real reason. The real reason was the money, and the money being collected from the South mainly, which has been going on since 1776, and they got tired of the deal. So when the moral tariff was going to come into effect, they said, "The hell with it! We're out of here. We're done." Which you can see most wars, and actually, the North and the South have, you know, both sides were saying it was a bankers' war. They all knew that. But there's less understanding of this up north, or even in California. You know, California's out there in another freaking country practically. So, Captain Francis Marion, and that's interesting. Francis Marion, South Carolina. I'm from, my ancestor is from South Carolina. Recognize that name. Some of my ancestors back in 1776 fought under Francis Marion, General Francis Marion. Sons of Confederate veterans, Order of Confederate Rose, in loving memory of Commander Jim Lear. See the emblem here. So, property is under surveillance, video surveillance at all times. They just got the electricity going again, and there's a big hurricane some years ago, and they had to fix some of the tiles in here, and they did all that. They did all the repairs, and this thing's lit up at night. So yeah, it's a nice memorial. Get around this side here. It's another obelisk, I guess you would call that, in memory of Douglas M. Dawson, Florida Division Commander for a number of years, 8 years. So I guess he died while on active duty as commander. I haven't been in the SCV that long, so I mean, I've been in the SCV for a few years. So, but smart enough to get on board real quick with things. So here's the monuments again, and here's the flag. Got it in my camera right here. So, large flag. Probably need to trim some of them trees back here a little bit, like that one. But I don't know if that's on their property or not. So I don't know how this is leased or what, but I don't know what the angle is. But you know, also it would be good to get a bunch of even 30-foot flags out there, 40-foot poles, 50-footers. The higher you go, the price goes up exponentially, but you get more visibility. So pluses and cons, pros and cons to anything, but it's probably good to have a lot of little flags out there too, and anybody can put up a little smaller one. A little bit so you can see the size of the monument's all back behind that tree. You can see the size of the flag. It is quite large.